Chapter 2. Happiness is the purpose of life. You take up some vows like framing things positively, focusing on your own internal development. You practice a meditation on being in service to this happy face. You practice satsang, also life food potluck, listening to life music. You take up a routine to engage your extended family, for this happy face is in an abode of the hearts of all. So you absorb in thought of service to this master of self. As you follow whole brain functioning principles for JUBBS cell rejuvenation, in the end, you will become fully purified. You return back to this good head. You, in eye awareness, is experiencing pure transcendental bliss. This is your original personality. Yet, in this present state, you can see all was suffered and amnesia, also paralysis. To have not been able to have remembered under negative economic inductance. Meditation is of past times of happy face. Cloud 2 children told me modeling occurs as you copy, also imitate excellence in whole brain function patterning. You learn who is involved, yet to little benefit, generally, for even stars in the heavens who all have a life in a death wheel of fans caught in a similar cycle. Therefore, imagine a world under positive economic inductance. Meditation on the past of this happy face is a display of transcendental pastime information, existing in such volumes as the path of formlessness, the path of hollow bones. So, in 3 volumes of whole brain functioning training manuals, for also in 18 volumes on magnicity, you meditate on this happy face, eternal pastime. You become qualified to enter into this happy face yourself. You attain this eternal abode upon activities of a happy face nature, to know by felt heard appearance all is of a transcendental nature. So, obviously then, meditation of eye awareness is original. As the smell also taste of a rose, you see this happy face in everything, including the wonders of nature, the magnicity of the moon, also sun, is an organ of self. To be with the original fragrance as black amber, to become is limitless. Cloud taught me to always begin at the feet in smudging, to continue upward to the head of this happy face. Fixed upon unique parts of intelligence becomes a unified whole. You are total. Until desire is conquered, you hold tight to the feet to worship where this happy face's feet are. By which you come to me, I give you understanding, your love with me to serve, devoted. Constantly I am to you who is absorbed in your own spiritual process to be of a progression. You clear desire all can rise above. Therefore, as further noted, you can observe a form of intelligence is inside all in nature. So you can have learned to leave your ways behind, for this is you who is serving, living most amongst us. Governance of your being in an I-aware state is noted as decentralized, while non-localized, as a gestalt of the whole is existing to notice how a small part works, to protect your private property. On a spiritual level, a new mindset is in a transcendental I-aware state. You do so by being aware. You are beyond your body. While this is a new mindset where you're learning how to take responsibility for those who don't regulate themselves, as also a nation government is fickle only based in fiction, such becomes regulated from the outside. Being of a new mindset, this is you in a sovereign state to correct, to have settled all past debt. So this is the new reset as a republic at peace. All control becomes decentralized by smart contract. While speaking further about this new mindset, you get an indelible view of how the past is the future now. As one might ordinarily, without development, not be able to perceive you become aware the body is the mind's experience of itself. For who is the I which possesses the eyes? Such sees to lift your hands in HAPPYFACE's name. By imitation felt about what was done, to contemplation of what's heard, to what clicks inside such rings a bell. For to be getting a bigger picture from experiential learning, you come to impact the whole mode you make. So obviously you have an accelerated feeling of love to hold tight to the feet of this perfect master, this master of self. As desire is conquered, your service rises to time devoted to a full totality. So HAPPYFACE says, child, parent, heaven is a good trinity to conquer passion. This illuminates all beyond the sun. To the entire body, all is seen. As your behavior as a footprint left behind, calibrated to your internal state. To be eye-aware, observed by what you have not felt, heard, nor seen. This self survives beyond your body. A sober mast, as an eye aware adherent, isn't ever bewildered by change. So, obviously, you're asked to question the source of your intelligence. Is this coming from your omnipresent self as eye aware? For who is beyond the mind as beloved in the eye awareness movement? All practice several processes in order to elevate consciousness. From a desire, also fear is conquered in eye awareness. Being empty inside is to be able to apply all available neurology to be put to achieve a desired outcome. So all is as emptiness is simply a feeling of interest, as care is as matter, where worship rises above the feet is, for being compassionate, you find rapport by pacing to then be able to be seen leading. While then you apply celebration, which is the chief component of compassion. So to celebrate life, such it's wise you have a living teacher who assists in developing you. So you can have walked a mile in another's shoes, you can now rise above the feet of the perfect master. Defining eye awareness meditation. As your devotion rises above the feet, a gradual progression is toward having gone beyond desire. You can attain by meditation on this happy faces life. Begins from the feet, you only go upward as you are released from a desire of material things. As you fly upon your mind within your heart to find the master of self, this is called not thinking of foolish objectives. So this is eye awareness meditation. While remaining steadfast, to do this work of the rainbow prophecy, one vow HAPPYFACE has kept is having no fixed bed, while another is to be without material possession. To defer gratification, also judgment once your desire is conquered, your meditation rises above the feet of the master. A mind fully absorbed in this happy face. By this mind, you can find out this is how you find the master inside self. You begin to clear away all which is extraneous. It is the business of an eye-aware adherent to meditate sitting inside your heart. You meditate upon this supreme living master, this master of self who rents no space for fear. Many conscious societies exist closing the eyes to not know what is being meditated on, yet many are snoring. So you're not misled by the non adept. The mind fully absorbed in this happy face as meditation mean the same thing. Meditation in eye awareness transcendental means to focus and absorb the mind without being diverted to any other subject. You focus on this master of self. A positive proposition is, otherwise, something very vague as not too clear. You simply concentrate your focus on this happy face you are serving. The process of sitting as seeing is beyond a mere absent mind. You see all from an inner smile, yet nothing is discernible on the outside. It's your inner happy face you are devoted to, who is the supreme master of self. You have this self dedication. You come to this point by living outward an inner unbroken state. Meditation in eye awareness is not a scheduled time nor location. So you study the physiology of excellence, ongoing, as you learn about applying your nonverbal communication. Your focus is to learn what a true healing therapeutic is. Competence is in a range of realms, being within all being is without. You can give offerings, so you are not in a gross begging stage. As you are devoted to the feet, you start applying whole brain functioning principles of sorting information. You conquered desire of a material world. Now your eyes can be in worship above the feet. To be enjoined, you care for the soul. You learn how to apply your vestibular sense in all syntax. So the senses don't engage in undesirable material to have fallen down into a mundaneness. Yet, by an intense intellectual endeavor involving introspective contemplation all is as body life colloid feedback, you adjust all to be in your original state. To attain knowledge, for such be about the master of self, you become happy. All so you can see acting spiritually is in accord of a perfect detachment. For you act with your senses. You spiritualize all to act with integration to be remained associated, while congruent. You live simply and others can simply live, so you leave random acts of kindness behind you as you follow this happy face. As you search for this eye, you are meditating. The sensation of nonsensical behavior itself is not your full totality. Unless you are empty to sensorily track behavior. The path of hollow bones is a work to engage eye awareness. You only refrain from what is a mere perturbation. In meditation, you question who you are. You ask, "Who am I?" However, until you have been renounced, until you have renounced all you are not, you can only have a educated insight, yet not a live, full being of who you are. So you also absorb yourself, for this supermind is a happy face inside self. You, by various process ongoing, bring your senses into an introspective mode. You master the kinesthetic self by getting body feedback. Your shoulders are relaxed as your breath, as your heart too. You learn about analog sculpting to access state-specific neurology. You can focus on this happy face to focus one's mind on a super soul. A super soul is the representation of this happy face. You control your breath, then meditation into an eye-aware state. You can peak at a plateau to then maintain this state unbroken. Meditation, so you clear away desire, assists with your relation with what's a superconscious supreme inside. Yet, simply sleeping while snoring, you are not saturating yourself with eye awareness consciousness. As you only contemplate on what's impersonal, you're not really meditating. For meditation means thinking of this happy face to endeavor to advance your own state of eye awareness being achieved. You've stopped swimming between a bank of desire or fear. You've gone now beyond desire in a state of eye awareness for your service having ongoing, and unbroken devotion now rises above the feet of the Master. Devotion is to the feet of this perfect Master. All is studied where these feet have been. Until your desire is conquered, you put an end to nonsensical mundane activities to engage in meaningful devotional activities. Meditation is focusing on the fruit of life to the feet of the Master of Self. So, the object of an eye-aware, meditative, ongoing state is personal, not impersonal. Who meditates only by scheduled time, also a place, is not focused on a supermind. You have a personal experience with a void or what's impersonal. You can't cross over into this holy sea. Only of a containment you fail to meditate on the fruit of life at the feet of this perfect Master. You don't want to have only risen to a point of the impersonal as merely a universal without looking at your own person as is your own individuality. So you can have polarized to your own first attention. You open up to a ring of power below your first attention to stop start while being able to have your hands on the controls for a change. You redirect your energy. One who isn't free of selective restrictive violations in your sensory motor complex cannot see this happy face. You forget your medicine bag or dream catcher so you don't possess an anchored state such is of a sticky factor. You remember what works. Meditation in eye awareness means remembering events where learning occurred in the past. Thus, there is many types of meditation on a happy face under this one roof. Unless the mind becomes fixed, one cannot conclude it was any meditation. For meditation means you devote self to stopping all nonsensical activities throughout your day. So, what do you have an unbroken attention of focus to? Discussion on meditation in eye awareness. How are you in the way you keep self company? Do you find the mind having been racing from one thought to another? When there was a multiplicity of things, was it your mind being disturbed? Getting relief isn't from a personal deceit nor intoxication. You benefit as you free your mind from routine care, also worry. You feel enlivened, totally refreshed. All depends upon the right kind of yoga as meditation, like focusing on knowing civil rights. Do you know your civic right? Your natural born right? Do you check in with your feelings? You stop the mind's wanderings and life becomes enjoyable. You learn to apply whole brain functioning principles in sorting information, while all comes much quicker to you, for a workman is worthy of hire. So you have a right to contract eye awareness above consciousness is sourced in a supreme totality of self. Yet most have first awareness for connection to the source. If you learn from an authentic practice, such a meditation can restore your source connection. Is there more than one type of eye-aware meditation? Therefore, what's the difference between eye-aware meditation, also other types of sit-in meditations today? Who is the real example of this outward-lived meditation? Who is a beloved who occupies this supreme seat? Who is real? Who is lovable? Who is of warmth of blood? As none is the surety for another. For this is about you being in a new mindset where room is inside for improvement. I awareness is your yoga. You learn to have a personal, subjective, private practice, unbroken in your ongoing meditation. All learned is to live in the quick. You focus your attention as service to this supreme conscious beloved. In the place of a name, you can place any name. Such is merely a geography which is fictional. So it's a universal condition in eye awareness. You have a happy face inside you. As an outward lived example of such allows you to have a full meditation on this superconscious being. Yet, until desire is conquered, you'd not see yet. So hold tight to the feet of this perfect master, the master of self, to have this self-dedication to the master of self until such time as this is an automatic state for you. You have an accelerated feeling of love for this beloved immediately in front of you while remaining in what's called a visiting frame. You're going to be learning more about this as you apply a framework for behavioral change, as noted further obviously. The real ongoing meditation the real ongoing meditation is to find life living in an eye-aware state. Being focused on the feet of this perfect master, you clear away all attachment. You can do this fast by modeling the foot tracks of HAPPYFACE. For suddenly, all your attachment would be gone as you strive to be this superconscious beloved. Your eyes as senses come above the feet of the master of self, being in your heavenly abode of devotional service. You do all in terms of this happy face inside. For no matter how bad behavior was, all are treated equally, as even if only 1% of eye awareness is present, you will have remained in this heavenly abode, to not have succumbed to lechery as debauchery of the material world. You can only join like with like. You can join another living being to another. Yet, who is living is not equal to what's a fiction merely. Your meditation comes to be perfected because such ongoing service you grow. Okay, so a friend of mine said in passing, the more you teach this path, the path of eye awareness is, the more you take on this superconscious state of being is. You strive to know all conduct as you meditate on this happy face inside you. So you've stopped to smell the roses as your vessel is kept on an even keel as of an exalted state. Your eyes kept level unblinking while your heart is slightly in front of your nose. Your inspiration quiet as expiration long is your focus. So all is on being in inspiration and eye awareness, light flood into you. When you do an unbroken happy face meditation, who is living amongst us most, who has left their ways behind, is who is serving most, is to be of a clear mind for all knowing. You've learned how to apply the vestibular sense to remain integrated. As pleasure interest do such, you've been engaging your frontal cortex. You've conquered all triggered adversity. For you're good at managing all difference of separateness away from an outside condition. You apply the vestibular sense to be associated, to move toward your outcome progressively, to keep this focused meditation so eye awareness is inside, for you to come to be ever more superconscious as in an eye aware state of being. In eye awareness, you become aware. You become developed, for this takes many years of a progressive, developed state of presence. You can get to this via progression only for you learn what is absolute as what is real. As this is the awareness you have which the body is perceiving. This comes from space inside you which is infinite. With a finite body, though care is as matter is ever more transient as subject to change. While in balance, this is a 50-50 relationship. In the East, I is taught yet not am, while in the West, am is taught yet not I. Yet, In eye awareness, you learn about who I is with M together in a 50-50 balance. As this is what the path of hollow bones is about. Being caught by this rule of I, while becoming a living metaphor for the rainbow prophecy, is what Cloud taught this happy face. What's forever is real, as all matter is transient in relationship for it's you who is real, which can launch an action to have an economic egalitarian world, modeled upon nature's grand design. Such is decentralized, so quorum sensing is effected. You live life from your own informed consent, as are the people. These principles of custom is sovereign, for this is an ancient old custom which is about common law, as civic duty is responsibility, as currency can only be tied to governance of a verified vote. Excuse me. Eye awareness is yoga with a happy face. There is 10,000 religions, yet only one math. None teach eye awareness or whole brain functioning. What's taught in the East is a passive form of an experience of eye awareness, yet not a way of life. In the path of hollow bones, you learn about a way of life living perpetually as the master of self. If you want to participate, you can listen to these authoritative writings from this happy face. It's very remarkable, these teachings of eye awareness as whole brain functioning is being taught in the middle of a war being fought. Yet, to be the mendicant, as the pen is mightier than the sword. What reason exists you don't adopt the path of least resistance? You come from an outward living, ongoing meditative state. In a presence of being in an eye-aware state, of an empty center representing all of this stellar space. While another half exactly such is all matter inside such stellar space, including all you know as don't know as matter, which is your body in affection. In this discourse, you can hear about a true meditative system, so you remain permanently in a state of eye awareness. You have eyes remaining level, to have been of proper posture. Your eyes are kept moist, unblinking, with your gaze peripherally Scott focused. You remain in eye awareness, so your attention to focus is associated, integrated, while congruent. You're in uptime to track sensory specific information. All else is a ridiculous scheduled place, not doing what this happy face does by being in the marketplace. A rabbit won't ever launch an action, neither will a stone. Only you who is real can. Your motivation is to take charge where there's a mess. By being good at joining all, by giving what's universal, not individual, in any moment, is how far you can travel with impeccability. Eye awareness is an outward lived inner meditative state. 50% empty, as 50% in affection, in matter, is your care. This system of whole brain functioning allows you to have ultimate flexibility. For the body is the mind's appearance of itself. As you live what you speak, to speak what you live next. As you have an outward lived inner meditative state, you have strategy, which is the art of the means to get all done. For this system is about applying the vestibular sense, which is your sense of associateness, integratedness, also congruence in being total. Yoga means being joined. Getting an old instruction like you go meditate is impractical, also unendurable. Also presupposes for the mind isn't still silent, being transparent. Yet this mind of eye awareness, simply asking self, am I in eye awareness? You keep falling to this permanent, ongoing, remained state of formlessness. You remain timeless, being to be able to track sensory specific information. This comes through a still, silent, also transparent mind. A mind not peaceful is your own mastery of self to become permanently eye aware. For this is the true yoga practice, being in perfect detachment, in affection, in humbleness. In eye awareness, you remain with a shoreless ocean behind the back of your eyes. You clear away all internal chatter forever in eye awareness, as this is how you have an outward living meditation of an inner stillness, silence, of a transparency. The mind is merely an apparatus of all the sensory motor complex is expressed by. So, to work properly, it has to be like a parachute to function by opening up fully. Controlling your mind is easy, yet not the wind. In eye awareness, all activity of the mind is ceased. The eye aware student polarizes to one's own first attention. You gain access to a ring of power to stop, start, and redirect things by skill. Full use of the vestibular system, the substance of eye awareness as yoga is to maintain permanent peace of mind, as is the sole purpose of yoga. You learn to apply a proper scale to achieve an outcome which is well formed. Stretching, to put your hands out to stop the wind, isn't learned of a proper scale to have applied. You attain by learning through applying whole brain functioning techniques equal to great qualification. You can understand a great text in a short time, for a mind fixed on this happy face inside, yet noting discernible on the outside, you sculpt the body to access state-specific behavior. You learn how to chunk what's large down. You use Occam's razor as to be the simplest solution. The longer you live, the more you are able to attain enlightenment. For what's divine is a long, prosperous life, with no skill is more powerful than to this master of self. All else to achieve eye awareness is a lesser form than true renunciation in affection. You remain perfectly detached due to circumstance. Before positive economic induction, you live not so intelligently, as also to have suffered misfortune, to only swim between a bank of fear or desire, all the while in the pursuit of a changeless joy, not to have succumbed to novelty, all being of a fickleness of up then down. In eye awareness, you learn the true identity of I as not a subject, behavior, attitude, or a capability by what's done, nor is your identity your environment, nor family, yet empty stellar space for all matter. Inside this space is your body as care is. Show anyone any beloved getting rich being in politic is only evidence of a crook. Chapter 3. Yoga is a happy face inside. Most are taught meditation is in a scheduled time, also a location, which is limiting to have been complex, unnecessary. For ongoing is unbounded as your yoga is a happy face inside. Only your spontaneous creative self is, while no other practice except ongoing what needs practice eventually becomes hardwired to an ever more autonomy. A new mindset isn't turned on also off, A new mindset is an ongoing, unbending, focused meditation. Sitting, walking study of the sensory motor complex, sensation of body movement, to how such is applied to be with exceptional brain function. While you are downloading 10 or 15 new things every day, over time you observed you can easily remain integrated while being congruent to elegantly disagree. You easily associate, also dissociate from any subject, for this I is above the other three state of wakefulness, dreaming, also deep sleep. A sachem is you keeping company with like-minded individuals to grow. Things either grow or die. For you, only grow because something is on the outside developing this. I awareness is a technique of strategy as a teacher in inductive process. For application of verbal, also nonverbal communication to cause the mind to have fallen quiet. Such is the multiplicity of things disappear. Such is as the multiplicity of things disappear. As for this you, as I need an outward lived example of such, to have perfect detachment, to live a life in this shamanic tradition. So start to look at applying a scale that works. A vow can be taken like you will never have a fixed bed in life. To teach this work is in eye awareness, you develop individual, partner, also team building aptitude. For you learn how to apply the vestibular system to move toward what your outcome is. All your focus is on what's within. Meditation in eye awareness is your continued focus to develop yourself. For you are with this greatest master as you are with this master of self. For you have this self-dedication. Until such you hold tight to the feet of this perfect master, you are with what's real. As you have no subject matter, your mind falls fast asleep, which in eye awareness, your wakeful state is as your mind is deeply asleep. Only a pure state of eye awareness is above wakefulness. Dreaming, also deep sleep, so the mind is remained undisturbed. As is such a state, you are in imbalance. You are in balance. Being to have no fear unnecessarily. An empty center wrapped by affection equally is you as a balanced being. One absorbed in this type of yoga is absorbed to cultivate a happy face inside. While by such yoga, one imitated, contemplated as what's enduring while being endearing, is of experiential based learning and modeling this happy face. For who is real is you, who is aware. You are perceiving as not the observer observing something separate. One absorbed in this outward lived meditative practice is always being of this happy face inside. To live in peace in a material world, you give yourself as not things. For this is you who has left your ways behind, who is serving most, who is serving. For this is the master of self. Learning to apply whole brain functioning principles, you become omnipresent. You enter into heaven here on earth, as heaven is defined as the space between two children playing. You learn how to apply analog sculpting, whole body calibration, tracking, also stalking skills. You apply mastery over the kinesthetic self. So you can see how you have mastery over the outside world. For this is as your syntax engages a kinesthetic auditory visual pattern, which is preferred. You develop self by a continuous process as a way of life, as not merely an experience had here or there. You become ever more structurally oriented rather than content structured. You have peace as you have mastered perfect detachment from the physical, also psychic world. The whole purpose is to purify yourself. You realize your real identity is absolute as stellar space, as is a state of eye awareness, as you have affection wrapped around this empty center point. So no internal chatter is, as analog sculpting is of a correct posture in being. One's own being is what's sacred. Being in eye awareness can save you. Nothing else will do this for you. You overcome material contact to identify as I is in this happy face. So you have this dedication inside as this master of self. You learn by imitation, contemplation, also experiential learning. Your identity is in a state of presence of eye awareness. Your inner meditation is by causing pattern recognition of whole brain functioning preferred modes of sorting information. While in outward lived meditative inner practice, you take a position of A, balanced, empty center, as space is, with matter being the other balanced half to be in a meditative state of eye awareness. So all is a state of presence beyond the other three limited states of wakefulness, dreaming, also deep sleep. I awareness is body, mind, also spirit integration. For what's spiritual is about a joinedness, also what fits in. All else is renounced from, as is of perfect detachment. You have mastery over the outside world. You've mastered the inner kinesthetic self, as this is what practice of yoga is, which means to be joined in yoke together. To have a long life, you cultivate a noted inner still, quiet as a transparent state. For in whole brain functioning, you learn about the vestibular sense as a system regulating all the other senses. To do so, your mind can be engaged as you have this happy face inside. For you know you are this I, in perfect detachment, the fire of a material world. You are entered into a state of heaven, which is the space between two children playing. As an ongoing inner meditation, the body, mind, also spirit is integrated. I, awareness, is established. A union of body, mind, also spirit, for otherwise in a material world is an observed lunatic world. In a state of playfulness, heaven is between two children playing. Cloud, two children, would say this: this was my teacher, Cloud, two children, only teaching as a subject. It was always about heaven here on earth. So, obviously, to curb all restless being, take bite-sized chunks to cause all to be integrated simply. However, in applying whole brain functioning techniques, you gain to have remained ever more in I awareness. You learn to apply also whole body calibration, analog sculpting, tracking, also stalking skills relate to strengthening a cause to an effect as an engaged inductive process. Crying for a vision is having chance to change the course of one's own destiny. I awareness is body, mind, also spirit integration. Integration is as affection is. Pleasure as interest create whole brain functioning patterning. However, aversion causes limited mind function. Pleasure, as also interest, is equal to a bank account of adding together all plus one. While what's aversive as a state of association is equal to minus 5 in a bank account. The body is the kinesthetic self. The mind is noted as the auditory self. Also, spirit is this aspect of self involving enlightenment, which involves vision. So, in I awareness, you are in an ongoing engaged state of pleasure as interest, where a resource state exists large enough to collapse any stuck state into this. So, for this to occur, resource states are chained together. So obviously then a message is only passed on if you have 78% of the nervous system behind the nerve impulse. So an all or nothing phenomenon is existing. As also how pleasure, also interest neurology is wired to your extensor muscle set, where as by proximity aversion engages muscle groups connected more to flexor muscle, such contracts your limbs to increase blood pressure overall. You cannot develop eye awareness as a state where the body is innervated, also innovated. If ye eat more than required, or not enough, one can have learned to have adapted to go without, yet not from deficiency nor excess can you be in an eye-aware state. Basic rules to eye awareness is to be in a cultivated state of perfect detachment, which is a state of being beyond desire, beyond a stuck past state of non-integrated, non-associated, also non-congruent states, while also being with life food as life begets life, while dead begets dead. For one's inner development coming from a rational continuum inside self, conduct which is observed. An apprentice becomes a mast to eventually oops becomes eye aware with training in personal development. Yet this is an ongoing inner meditative state of being from a hollow center point as simply care wrapped around this. In an eye-aware state, you have a preferred feeling state. Then you hear, then you see. For you must feel light in the body to see in the mind's eye. So obviously you can see how feeling, hearing, seeing is an orderly progression of your body in the nervous system. For all stuck state making decisions would have generally engaged a sensory system deletion. Yet, in whole brain functioning patterning, you have a kinesthetic audio-visual direction. A masked, engaged, whole brain functioning patterning to learn to live is a sachem. To be in keeping company of like-minded individuals, for over time, while you are to study, you come to be ever more total, to be free of desire as all forms of compulsion, of obsessiveness, as all forms of exclusion, also separateness, in wielded directedness of no common good, as greed is aversive as ownership was to control a beggar by assets owned. To Goldfinger we the people was to have steered all from slight to chronic possessiveness. You cultivate well-formedness in your language as also conduct in an ongoing meditation, yogic practice of eye awareness. All isn't too much found alone without practice. You remain in an I-aware state where chaos is, you take charge. To have success is the response you get back in a trust of a peaceful mind. You clear away all obsessiveness, compulsiveness. You become more still, silent, also transparent. One becomes devoted to nonverbal as well as verbal communication, allowing others to live in the whole of themselves. Communication is from listen, speech, as where your listener is controlling what you say, as is coming from the listener's interest to learning. So, all existing is the response got back. For in an I-aware state, you gain rapport with another to be able to lead. Mindfulness is doing the dishes for the sake of itself, not something else. In omnipresence of I-awareness, you are looking over all the places you have been. You're not the observer sensing what is separate from you, yet awareness of the perception of observing. I-awareness is above the other three states of consciousness. The method of whole brain functioning is explained in 3 manuals, while also in The Path of Hollow Bones, Volume 12, also 17 of JUBBS Magnicity. One can't control the mind in a sheltered workshop. Your material body is 50% of you wrapped around empty space. In an outward lived inner meditative state of I-awareness, you are free of unbridled passion of sensation to be more experienced, to be about a way of life. As the mind is quiet, the multiplicity of things is disappeared. For work done is always in the marketplace, to not have been found done in a lofty cave. Success is assured by right conduct, as also in your speech, so you've remained in I-awareness permanently once learned. In an I-aware state, passion is subdued, so you go beyond a state of desire, of swimming between a bank of desire to fear, then from fear to desire. To be both fit physically while being developed of emotional intelligence takes a purification of the path of consciousness to be in a no-mind state. For language is patterned motor movement. Real pleasure as interest is in mastery of an eye-aware state of an ongoing inner meditation. So your first attention until of a new mindset having remained in a plateaued state of eye awareness. Otherwise, what's mere perturbation as extraneous is polarized to. So you then have access to a ring of power via application of the vestibular sense being whole brain function pattern applied. You are integrated, associated. While seeing all as being congruent in life, in the early stages a trance from misery is to relish, to rejoice in self. To be how self is kept company inside, you become elevated as you renounce material desire. If you're given opportunity so as you don't take it, such is because you have parts not integrated. All had been a missed opportunity to have learned how to have responded more effectively. Prejudice is reframed, otherwise you were remained of limited mind patterning, as would have been your own worst enemy. You conquer the mind, for the average sister is having 80,000 thoughts per day, while the average brother some 40,000. Yet better than 10,000 things said is what said is heard, causing the mind to have fallen quiet. Or otherwise only an old, outdated, inferior, undeveloped self would have been always of a missed opportunity to have learned how to respond by having reframed some prejudice. Otherwise, you can have remained as one's worst enemy, being always dragged, dogged, also flogged, polarizing all who response. You can have remained stuck, occupied obsessively, compulsively, other than excellent, as a drunk monkey stung by a scorpion, chasing the egg of a barren chicken, of a material mundaneness, in muddy, gesticulated want. You have purposefully, automatically avoided being in an eye-aware state. In eye In eye awareness, no enmeshed being exists. No part is broken. You're not stuck in cognitive dissonance. As you have conquered the mind, your omnipresent eye-aware state is left behind. Space is you who is absolute, shoreless behind the back of your eyes. You're taken to what you haven't seen. All haven't felt. You are absorbed in life to be free of duality, also limited mind function. You allow a natural system of eye awareness be your social compact, where you only join the living with the living, as dead is put with the dead. To quorum sense, in a quanta, all is decentralized. Analog sculpting is accessing a state by applying the kinesthetic portion of experience, as is in having an inner smile. Such cannot be fully discernible, yet below consciousness. Such a happy face causes the brain to become cooled down. Whereas, on another note, aversion engages the corrugator supercilii muscle between the eyebrow, while also contracting the orbital muscle around the lips. Such causes the brain to heat up. Life being integrated, associated, while congruent. Only serving one master to be free from separateness, duality, to exclusivity, which the material world is full of. You have summer as winter in life to what the seasons do to the fields. This is what is done to the body as happiness also. Sadness is made of the same cloth of feeling I. Duty isn't given up by a mosquito bite. Yet to be able to tolerate duality, because such isn't you in an I-aware state. A beloved is said to be amassed in I-awareness to then be eventually observed as being I-aware. Yet, before this time, one in pursuit of a state of I-awareness is called amassed, as one is established to know who I is. You dance around such you know what's real versus what's illusionary, for this allows you to remain integrated, associated, while remaining congruent. I-awareness is observed, is satisfied by virtue of displayed discernment with generosity, for a pebble, stone, or gold is felt the same way. The I-aware in yoga studies practical, structural, valid, contextual as expert knowledge. In I-awareness, you have a demonstrated knowing. You apply what you're aware of, as you can see you are beyond your seemingly physical body. Passion disappears by practicing as a sachem. The mind remains free of agitation and attraction to the material world. Under a banner of material advancement is a heap of street rubbish. In I-awareness, all beloved is considered with an open mind. You are for another's welfare, an ordinary neutral friend. All through behavior can be monstrous. All is treated equally. You live so simply, another can simply live. So, obviously then, though a beloved is already burdened, you don't burden anyone back. You stay with mirror-like wisdom, reflecting where one is going, not where a beloved has been. This happy face can have appeared 5,000 years ago, yet is still today being followed. A good friend is never overcome by evil. As you attempt what's auspicious, you can never be degraded. You're not seen throwing any dirt, so you never participate in losing any ground underneath yourself. You only join like with like while remembering all automatically as a workman is worthy of hire. You only need to cultivate 1% of I awareness so you won't actually ever again be so easily succumbed to the material world. You renounce material energy as you've escaped from a lens trapped, confined world. For a material world is a fickleness of have to have not. A conditioned soul clutches to advanced knowing as tested of an acquired spiritual sincerity. For knowing failure is a pillar to success. Failure would not be a loss in the world, for who follows such instruction is bound to have greater success. Therefore, as noted further, a far bigger picture can be formed as to how this new mindset established a renaissance as in a brand new social compact. To accomplish a great feat, as one picked up this knowledge as to now have formed a great deal ever more of pattern recognition, even of behavior of limited mind function, as a past state has been interrupted. You may know you return to finish off in balance. For what is common sense isn't need of being spoken, yet you have to be with the word room, as the greatest room is the room for improvement. To guide all by quorum sensing, you model consensus building decision making. By modeling nature, for this engages a decentralized system where all accounts is verified. We the people again come to be who is paying the piper. Therefore, in I awareness, self company is a happy face inside. What you put out summons a like energy back. So, the aim of I awareness is to control the sensory motor complex, to integrate, associate, while making a congruent link, a link be from a happy face inside. All can have this self-dedication to be the master of self. You, by remaining unattached to the fruit of this work, is by an obligation to be with perfect detachment. Love, being of the virtue of humbleness, I am always giving you my model of the world. For you always give your model of the world. What's not yet seen as a gift to you must remain my gift, not yours. In I awareness, you see room to accept the first sign of acceptance, which can have been often a rejection, then active denial, then finally acceptance. Now this pattern you observe to all who only have processed information through a preferred mode of separateness as difference, was to have only remained of limited mind function. You as I observe where syntax was of aversion as don't, won't, can't, should, must, try, but, only, never, also always, was noted by conduct, also discourse displayed to have been Also root with limited mind functioning, not having been eye aware. Discussing this topic further, whole brain functioning becomes ever more grokked. What's obscure doesn't fit, which is polarization, which always displays as coming from a dissociated, non existent condition of the mind. Yet, sorry, all memory, learning, also behavior, is state specific. So, if the company you only kept when learning info before an exam was under stress, memory retrieval becomes state specific with anxiety. What's learned under a state of anxiety is recalled, also associated memory with anxiety. As anxiety was associated with state of memory recall, polarization as a primary mode of sorting information is of parts not integrated nor congruent to always get a polarized response from others. While to protect what's broken, no empathy for another was. Only hiding guilt, also shame, one can only have played an on-off game. Changed goal position, superior, inferior, while an I am a subject state of a limited mind function. So company wasn't company kept wasn't with a happy face inside. Yet it's how you are seen keeping self company, a belief installed as you are banal, was a cute trick done by priests to politicians, to police, to parents, to professors. So after you'd not have ease of ability to look inside. So who, controlled by leaving, aloofness, dissociation, to distraction, interrogation, to intimidation, didn't want to be the victim. However, a trauma reenactment syndrome was always seen displayed of an inner violence upon self. Yet, in a meditated, ongoing inner practice of eye awareness, you escape from material entrapment to confinement. You study to instead have adopted whole brain function patterns. A good class captain is of a learned aptitude to self initiate, have good partnering skills, having good team building character qualities. For a good class captain is open to others' good ideas, as by your personal being in uptime to have pattern recognition, so such tracking of integrated idea suggests such good ideas. So how you keep company is art. For this art is your life. You gain rapport with company kept. Meanwhile, this is your own inner solitude, which is your greatest company. Yet, how do you put the bank back inside self? Remember, the Constitution wasn't written to constrain we the people's behavior, yet to control the governmental behavior. In practiced inner peace of mind, such is not a yoga class of a meditated scheduled time, nor can it be in an exclusive location. Who is what's gained in action for what was vital yet missing in action? Good instruction isn't turned on to off, so doesn't depend on a time or a distant separate geography as only a future or past place. Such would have been presupposed complexity. Nothing can relieve you except your own renunciation of what doesn't work, as also such is an innovative for you. Frame things positively. With gained rapport, you base all in what's sensory specific as you have a defined outcome, which is within one's ability, while ecological in how such works. You learn how to be in well-formedness, as how to gain your installed outcome by focusing on what resource you have. For you remain inclusive, not exclusive. So, keeping self company is yoga. Being associated, your focus in your use of the vestibular system as what is forward, toward, also within, while interest, also pleasure, is you've accessed your frontal cortex, so you're in a displayed whole brain functioning patterning, observed in exceptional brain function. Formlessness, to be in timelessness, as of your own inner solitude, while in such a state a nectar sipped is full of endogenous opiate, amphetamine, human growth factor, also potassium rhodinase. In eye awareness, you've entered a state of altered time, a state of timelessness beyond ordinary time. For personal, natural, rhythmic, cyclical concept of time comes to be evermore. Eye awareness is you reestablishing your inner happy face, master of self dedication. Otherwise, you hold tight to the feet of this perfect master. Eye awareness changes your expectation you have. A duty to serve truth for what's real, not illusionary. You can only serve one master who is the servant. The master of self is the servant of the servant. When not in eye awareness, a beloved was taken by the fruits of labor, as one became a servant to illusion. Yet situated in knowledge, you are a servant to reality. In awareness, this is a question of development reached, not a social state. This is the duty of all to become this happy face. Serving this happy face causes you to surrender to this happy face inside you. So you take on an eye-aware state of being. For this is how you keep self company. So, obviously, differences of opinion show you no relationship in a material world is eternal, nor divine, as is only a perverted reflection. Yet, in a new mindset, with this happy face you have inside an eye-aware state, all other relation is a reflection of relationship you have to this happy face inside. I can always be an order carrier in your court. What What is offered to me is returned to you 100-fold. To be perfected in knowledge of I awareness is the true totality of yoga. So you see all as a hollow fractal in a JC quanta of stellar universal space of I, where quorum sensing models nature in a decentralized manner, where a bank is put back inside you for I, who owns this currency, as time becomes tequila to your creativity. The totality of I awareness is yoga. You naturally progress as who is real, for this isn't a stagnant spot somewhere. Yet the birth of masts as those I aware is a great boon, for such birth gives impetus to sincere progress. For having clean feet to walk through anyone's mind, all who have knowing surrender to this happy face inside you, who is this master of self. All have a dedication to serve. In I awareness, you become free of contaminant arose from illusion. You engage in omnipresence of I awareness to find a happy face you have inside self. So, of all great masts for I aware beloveds is to have faith to make you home in me as I make mine in you. So obviously you see the picture. The mast in I awareness who is progressive is on a path to eternal fortune. As you have come to the point of this happy face inside, you have surpassed all other religion, also instruction, to this day. You have obtained the ultimate goal of I awareness. The goal of all yoga is this love for this happy face inside you. The greatest yoga is in a room of improvement. As a meditation in I awareness, you achieve a state of supreme conscious being. You listen via unbroken ecclesiastical maximum applied you going prudent judgment, see all toward your goal. Having due diligence is intended herein to aid the practitioner in applying I awareness in achieving this supreme state of consciousness. Being so is coming to be I aware, listening selectively, where hearing was mere sensation, you become ever more all-knowing.